Okay, today we're going to study section 1.8, the distributive property. This is a property that you have to know for algebra and beyond in your math careers, so this is something that you really need to be able to understand. So we're going to take our time learning this one. We're going to spend a few days going through it, but let's get the notes down first. So the distributive property means to multiply a number by a sum. We multiply the number outside the parentheses by each number inside the parentheses. This is not difficult for those of you who have learned how to multiply, add and subtract your integers. This is going to be a very simple concept. For those of you who haven't, you need to take some time to study your integers and make sure that you understand that, and it'll make this a much easier concept. So the first thing we're going to do is just go through some examples, and these are some simple ones that are mathematical and not algebraic. There are no variables involved in these. So let's take a look at them. We're going to take the number outside the parentheses and we're going to multiply it by each number inside the parentheses. So I always draw arrows to remind me that I have to multiply it by both numbers. So we're going to take 2 times 6 plus, because we're adding, 2 times 1, and we get 12 plus 2, or 14. Now, a lot of you will say, well, why can't we just add 6 plus 1 and take 2 times 7 and get 14? And that is absolutely true. It's the exact same thing, but this is just learning the distributive property simply with numbers rather than starting right out with variables. So just humor me a little bit and try these with me. Negative 3 times the difference of 9 minus 2. So we'll take what's outside and multiply it by each number inside. So negative 3 times 9 minus, this time because we have a subtraction, negative 3 times 2. Now keep in mind that we always put that negative in parentheses when it comes after a subtraction or an addition. It makes it easier not to get confused. So negative 3 times 9 is negative 27 minus negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. This is an acceptable answer for my pre-AL students, but it is not the best answer, and I want you to work real hard in getting the best answer. So in order to get the best answer, we're going to take these two negatives, when we have a minus a negative together, and we're going to make that a positive. So the best answer is negative 27 plus 6. Negative 27 plus 6 equals negative 21. If you remember back to your rules for subtraction, same opposite opposite, negative 27, we change the subtraction to an addition, we change the negative 6 to a positive 6. And then when we add those two together, remember we cannot add them because they're different signs, so we subtract, we add more negatives, so we get a negative 21. Let's look at number 3. This time the number outside the parentheses is on the right rather than the left. It doesn't work any differently, except that you do need to make sure you do them in order. So we're going to take what's on the outside by what's on the inside. So negative 5 times 10, we're always going to go left to right, even though that number's outside. Negative 5 times 10 minus negative 5 times 3. So we get negative 50 minus negative 15. Same opposite opposite tells us that we're going to have negative 50 plus positive 15, and because I can't add those two, I have to subtract them. So 50 minus 15 equals 35, and we're going to make it negative because we had more negative numbers. We had negative 50, and we only had a positive 15, so our answer is going to be negative 35. Take just a minute, pause the video, and work the three practice problems, and then come back and let's check over the answers. Okay, you should be back at this point, and so we're going to go ahead and just look at the answers for the practice problems. We take 5 times 7 plus 5 times 3, so 5 times 7 plus 5 times 3. We get 35 plus 15, so you should have gotten 50 for an answer. On number 2, we're going to take 7 times 3 minus 7 times 2, so 7 times 3 minus 7 times 2 equals 21 minus 14 equals 7. And on number 3, once again, we're on the right side, but we're still going to read left to right, so negative 2 times 8 minus negative 2 times 4. Negative 2 times 8 minus negative 2 times 4. Negative 2 times 8 is negative 16 minus negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. We'll use our same opposite rule, negative 16 plus positive 8. Now our addition rules, remember, say that these are not the same, so we can't add them, we have to subtract them. 16 minus 8 equals 8, and we're going to make it negative because we had more negative numbers. Okay, let's look at the second page of your notes. This time we're going to work with variables. So we're going to have some algebraic expressions that we're going to work with the distributive property. These are no different, but you do need to remember a few things that we've talked about already in the past, and that is that you cannot add unlike terms. So let's take a look at it. We've got 2 times the sum of x plus 3. So we'll take the 2 times the x plus the 2 times the 3. So 2 times x is 2x plus 2 times 3. So we get 2x plus 6. And 2x plus 6 is our answer. We cannot add these two. Can't add 2x and 6 because they aren't like terms. You're going to hear the words like terms a lot in the next few weeks, so get used to the fact that we cannot add those two together. It's just like we talked about in class, that if Mr. Crab calls and he asks me to tell him how many boys we have in the class, if I add the boys and the girls together and tell him that's how many boys we have in the class, that's wrong. I can't do that. I cannot add two things that are not alike. So we cannot add 2x plus 6. Number 2, we've got the 4, and we're going to multiply by x, and the 4 times the 3. So we're going to have 4x plus 4 times 3, 4x plus 12. Now the two first examples were pretty easy because everything was positive. When we get into the negatives, we have to really think about our rules. So number 3, we're going to take the 3 times the x minus the 3 times the 2. So 3 times x is 3x minus 3 times 2, and we get 3x minus 6. Remember that we cannot add those together. We cannot add 4x plus 12. We cannot subtract 3x minus 6 because they are not like terms. Number 4, we're going to take the negative 5 and we're going to distribute it to w minus 8. So negative 5 times w is negative 5w minus negative 5 times 8. Negative 5w minus negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. Remember our same opposite rule, so negative 5w plus 40. And that's as far as we can go. We cannot add those two terms together because they are not like terms. Go ahead and pause the video for a few minutes, work practice problems 1 through 4, and then come back and we'll go through them together. Okay, you should be back from working your practice problems. On number 1, we're going to take 9 times m minus 9 times 2. So 9 times m is 9m minus 9 times 2. So 9m minus 9 times 2 is 18. Remember, we cannot subtract those two. They aren't like terms, so we just leave it as is. On number 2, we're going to take 6 and multiply it by r minus 6 times 5. So 6 times r is 6r minus 6 times 5. 6r minus 30. 6 times 5 is 30. On number 3, you should have taken negative 2 times y minus negative 2 times 4. So negative 2 times y is negative 2y minus negative 2 times 4. Get negative 2y minus negative 8. Then we need to use our same opposite rule because we want to have the best answer. Negative 2y plus 8. Number 4, we're going to take 10 times y and 10 times 2. 10 times y is 10y plus 10 times 2, and we get 10y plus 20. So those are the answers to your practice problems. Bring these notes to class tomorrow, and we'll start working on the distributive property together.